Stop looking at the same old players and information off the internet when it comes to filling out your lineup from that waiver wire, because we got a running back that you need to know about, you need to pay attention to this week and the next few weeks, just in case he goes off or stumbles into an opportunity. And we're talking about Kenny McIntosh, running back of the Seattle Seahawks. A lot of you guys never heard about him before. A lot of you guys are wondering why I'm talking about a third-string running back who's a rookie who got drafted very late in the NFL draft. But there's some things in this game you need to know about, and we're going to cover that today. But what you need to do right now is click that subscribe button. Tap it with the finger on your phone. Click it with the mouse on your computer, because we're going deep on the waiver wire every single day. You may not need to pick up all these players, but you do need to know who some of these players are so you can make that decision later on down the road if this player starts seeing more snaps, touches, and targets. Also, we help you set your lineups, we help you win your trades, and the man Ric Flair's watching you. Do not disappoint him. It's the holidays. Keep him happy by hitting that subscribe button. But there's a lot to talk about here with Kenny McIntosh here. A lot going on. And the other Kenny, Kenneth Walker's on the mend right now due to an oblique injury. He's not going to IR. So this indicates that he's going to be out for just a little bit. That little bit could be a few days, few weeks, or whatever. More than likely out on Thanksgiving. But still, this is going to create some opportunity for the other running backs, especially Zach Charbonnet. But guess who's making his debut? Kenny McIntosh. He was on IR due to a knee and hamstring injuries. He came back from IR just a few weeks ago. He's been practicing. Now he's good to go, and he's making his debut this Thursday, tomorrow, on Thanksgiving. So we do have something to be thankful for here, but we do not know how many snaps he'll get, if we'll even get a touch, if he'll even get some opportunities. But we're watching this. We're paying attention to this on Thanksgiving. We're going to see what's going to be happening with Kenny McIntosh here, because he might be getting some workload. It could be 2 touches. It could be a couple targets. He could be used more than expected. I'll tell you one thing. They were talking about him heavily during minicamp and training camp. We were talking about it. He had some highlight runs. They were all over him in the media. The Seahawks fan base this offseason loved him. They liked him better than Charbonnet when they were seeing him in training camp and everything else. Go dig up that information, because we were talking about that hot and heavy. But going back to when he was a high school prospect, just in case you don't know much about him, he was heavily recruited by just about every collegiate program, all the top Power 5 schools. You see Georgia, Auburn, Oklahoma, Alabama, top-tier 4-star recruit. He goes to Georgia. The thing about Georgia, this is kind of like an RBU. They load up on these top-tier running backs here, and the running backs he played with: DeAndre Swift, Zamir White, James Cook, Kendall Milton, Dejon Edwards, Branson Robinson, current 5-star, been dealing with injuries, and more. Much more. And this is what Georgia does. They do not want these running backs to get a full workload. They want them to share the workload. And the selling tactic is, you come here, you get a little playing time, you get this exposure, and you know what? You're fresh for the NFL level, and you're not beaten down with carries. And looking at his career, that's what happened. He wasn't on the field much during the start of his career. He was in there off and on. We also had a few injuries baked in. But then that final year in 2022, we saw some magic here and there, especially how he was used in the passing game. The big thing we want to point out here, he had 12.3 yards after the catch per reception during his final season. That's immense. That means he can shake and bake with the ball in his hands in open space after he catches the football. During that final year, he caught 43 balls for 505 yards. Did not get a huge ADOT, 0.8, so it is in the positives, and he did get some targets downfield. His long was 83 yards. He had some games where he blew up in the passing game. The year prior, 10.9 yards after the catch per reception. The year before that, 11.5 yards after the catch per reception, 11.7 on his career. We usually say around 10 is good, 10 is exceptional for the running back position. He hit 12 last year because he's good at reading the momentum around him when it comes to the defenders in space. We're looking at where he needs to go, and he's very assertive. 3.09 yards after contact per attempt as well. 3.3 on his career, creating missed tackles. 467 yards after contact on the season last year. Sure, 129 rushing yards. But how you use this guy in the passing game can dictate how productive he can be in fantasy. That's what we see in his profile. That's what we saw in training camp. We're talking about training camp. We're talking about mini camp for these rookies. He was getting a lot of buzz. He was getting a lot of opportunity. They liked him. They said he looked faster than what he was at the combine. And then also in college, one of the top target leaders at the running back position with 49. Very productive back there. And he was sharing the backfield. It was not like he was the lead back or the 1A back there at Georgia. He wasn't the only guy there because they got a lot of good running backs. But 49 targets in this passing game as well, where you're dishing out the Bowers and company. That's pretty solid there. And now you look at the draft profile. We got to the combine, ran slower than expected. 4.62 40-yard dash. You check him out on tape and you really watch it. You can see where it is. But also, you see him pull away in the open field on some plays as well. 6 foot, 204, fell to the 7th round. You say, Bruce, he's a 7th round draft pick. Why should I care about a 7th round draft pick? Well, I'm going to tell you right now, this was a deep running back class. One of the deepest running back classes of all time. And we saw some of these running backs fall. A lot of people were speculating on Kenny McIntosh early in the draft season as being like a 3rd or 4th round draft pick. Maybe 5th at the worst. But then this draft happened. And we started seeing these running backs fall from grace. We were expecting double the running backs to get drafted in the 2nd round, 3rd round this year. We were expecting that. That did not happen. That's purely due to economics. We had a surplus of running backs. The demand for running backs is very low. Think of the contract negotiations for Saquon and other running backs, how teams do not want to pay up for that. They don't want to do that in the draft either. They want to pick and choose. The Seattle Seahawks don't care. They spent 2 second-rounders. They saw Kenny McIntosh in the 7th, and they said, why not? Why not? He cannot go undrafted because we will not be able to sign him. We can't let this guy get away. We probably would have drafted him earlier, but you know what? We spent 2 second-round picks on running backs in back-to-back years. We're kind of good. We can't let this guy go. We just can't. And they know what they have in him. And they stated he looked faster than what he posted at the combine in training camp. Look at the Seahawks running back opportunities this year. Remember, DJ Dallas is there, the veteran running back. He's still getting work. Expect him to get some work on Thursday because he's a veteran. Expect them to figure out what they want to do with Kenny McIntosh this week. See if they want to give him some touches. See if he gets some snaps. We're just seeing if he gets on the field, and we're seeing what he does on the field and how they use him. They may automatically start using him in the passing game. They may do that. Or it's just a dress rehearsal, and maybe he gets a series here and there, or maybe a couple touches. Maybe we get to see some snaps, but you need to know who he is. And I don't care about the schedule. It sucks for the running backs here, but I don't care because I just want to see him get snaps. I want to see him get opportunities. I want to see how he's going to be used, and I want to see how he's going to be used going forward. I'm not picking him up right now in a basic 12-man league. Maybe not even a basic 14-man league. 16-teamer, I'm thinking about it. I'm thinking hard. Because if another injury happens, these running backs, Kenneth Walker, Kenny McIntosh, Zach Charbonnet, they've been taking turns with injuries. I've been saying this all year long. I've been saying it the last few weeks on these videos. A lot of people want to ignore that. A lot of people want to talk shit on that. But it's happening. It's just happened again. Before that, Zach Charbonnet was hurt. Kenny McIntosh was on IR. Before that, we were wondering when Kenneth Walker was going to come back. And then Zach Charbonnet was hurt during training camp. And then McIntosh got dinged up in training camp as well. So there was a lot of injuries in the last 5-6 months ago with these running backs. But they're excited about Kenny McIntosh. They're very excited about using him. They're excited about having him back. This is going to be his debut game. Not an optimal matchup. But still, if it gets out of hand, or if they want to just throw him in and see what they got, maybe as a changeup, and say he gets a few snaps, I say he gets probably about 10 snaps maybe in this game. Does that sound encouraging? Probably not. But we're watching him. We're watching this player. You don't need him. You just need to pay attention to him. I know you saw the headline. You need this player. You need to pay attention to him. You need to pay attention to Kenny McIntosh. So if you say something different in the comments below, like no one needs to pick him up, then you did not watch the video. And everybody who came this far into the video, dog that dude, because you do need to pay attention to Kenny McIntosh, because he does have some upside in his game. The Seahawks like him. Can be used in the passing game. Might have a role for fantasy, might not. But we're watching him. We're watching the touches. We're watching the snaps. Let me know what you think in the comments below. I want to hear about it. Make sure you hit that subscribe button on the way out. Remember, Ric Flair's watching. Woo! Don't disappoint him. I want to thank you, though. Catch you on the next one.